Today we're going to talk about selecting the right residential style pressure washer for your job. Whenever the aisles of the big box stores get lined with pressure washers, you know that spring is right around the corner. But with so many different choices out there, the consumer can really get confused on what to buy. There's also a huge price range on these machines as well, going anywhere from as low as $300 to up to $900, $1,000 for the residential quality machines. As the owner of Spray Wash Exterior Cleaning in Tallahassee, Florida, we come in contact with a lot of customers that have residential machines, and frankly they just give them to us because they don't work or they didn't perform to expectations. A lot of times this is from buying a lower price machine or not maintaining it correctly. And we're going to get into the maintenance of them in a separate video. But for today we're going to talk about what to look for when choosing a machine, a good all-purpose machine to wash around your house for a consumer-grade purpose. This would not be for professionals. One of the most important things to consider when purchasing your pressure washer, first off, is the flow. This to me is even more important than the PSIs. We've seen a large push in the commercial industry to actually lessen our PSIs and increase our flow rate. Most of our machines are 5.5 gallons a minute, ranging up to 8 gallons per minute. I even have a 10-gallon a minute machine in my fleet. However, for residential purposes, we'll really be concentrating more on a 2.5 gallon a minute up to about a 4 gallon a minute machine. Now, going on the whole flow concept, I could always raise or lower my pressure up to the maximum PSI of a machine, but I can't really raise or lower the gallons per minute that machine is creating. So higher gallons per minute is better. We find we have a lot of cleaning power with the flow of water coming out, not necessarily the force of the water coming out. In fact, whenever you start getting up around 3,500, 4,000, 4,500 PSI, you can really start causing a lot of damage whenever you attack your property with one of these. You can peel paint, you can fog windows up, you can force water up under your door jambs. Really, the high pressure combined with improper tip usage can really cause a lot of issues whenever you're pressure washing. Now, when it comes to engine choice, I personally am a big fan of the Honda engines. All of my commercial pressure washers have Honda engines. We've had the best success with those. Something from the GX series as well. That's a little more professional type grade than the other Honda series out there. But anywhere from a Honda 200 class up to a Honda 390 GX. That would be the engine that I would want to look at if I was buying a residential quality pressure washer. Take, for example, this Honda GX 270. This type of engine should give you years of trouble-free service with just the basic maintenance from the engine itself. Now, engine is separate from the pump issues you may have, but the Honda engine itself is relatively bulletproof in this series, going on up to about the Honda GX 390. Now keep in mind, for all the bells and whistles on a pressure washer, really and truly it's only about two separate machines on there. There is an engine and a pump, and we really find out the magic kind of comes into the pump. The engine is the engine is the engine. You put gas in it, it spins around. Now the pumps are where you find the most variation in there, and the pump is what's actually going to, give pressure to the water. Your pump should have a couple of different things. One, they should have a blow-off mechanism. Second off, they should have an unloader that will essentially take the pressure off of the pump whenever you're not actively shooting the gun. When you don't have the trigger pushed, you need to be able to, that water needs to bypass the pump. So that's essentially what an unloader does. It is bypassing the pump. Like these pictures here, a lot of these pumps will have like a built-in injector system. I'm really against using the built-in injector systems on your pumps, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But to unload that pressure, your pump needs to have an unloader. What I'm pointing to right here is a blow-off valve that in case your pressure builds up too high in the pump, it will pop off on this valve and start flooding out that way. A lot of times these valves won't reset. But if you notice on the side mount pressure pumps, really my favorite type, because you can always buy a side mount pressure pump. There's several suppliers out there, Power Wash Store for one, where you can get a 4,000 psi or 3,500 psi 4 gallon a minute, 3 gallon a minute pump from Legacy. Is the manufacturer of it. So whenever your pump on this pressure washer dies, you can go and bolt a new pump onto there. We've had several machines that are 6-7 years old where the Honda GX motor's still going, and I've gone through maybe 3 pumps on those machines throughout their lifespan. You can get a replacement pump anywhere from $275 to about $450, depending on the strength of the pump that you want. And that would be for a direct drive pressure washer that would bolt directly onto the engine. The shaft sizes on these Honda engines, as well as the bolt patterns going up to the shaft, are all fairly standard, so real easy to get replacement pumps to bolt on there without having to worry, is this the right pump for this engine? Honda's real good about keeping their bolt patterns standardized. Now, I really recommend you stay away from the bottom mount pressure washers. This is, of course, my professional opinion on there, but it seems like I see a lot of problems with these bottom mount pressure pumps. They're not a standard type thing that's easy to find a replacement for. It's typically a lighter duty pump as well, and whenever people say, hey, Ray, can you look at my pressure washer, something's going on here, many times it's this style that has the bottom mounted pressure pump on there versus a side mount larger pump that we discussed earlier. So for trouble-free maintenance, these are really more for almost washing cars, doing a light rinse down, and you will have problems with these pumps eventually. If I had my choice, to spend $700 on a decent pressure washer versus $350, $400 on one that I know is going to mess up, that I really can't ever upgrade, or that I can't repair the pump on, I'm probably going to go with the higher price one because I'll get several more years of use out of it. So in summary, for residential use for a homeowner on a pressure washer, my personal recommendations are get the highest flow that you can. 3 to 4 gallons a minute is absolutely ideal. Stick with a known name brand of engines. Again, my personal preference is the Honda GX series. Seem to have the best luck with those. Then you're also getting a direct drive pump that'll be a side pump, a side mounted pump, not a lower pump down there. Not an underside pump, but something that's actually shooting out the side or back of the pressure washer. A direct drive pump. Those are going to be the most serviceable and the most replaceable. Hey, thank you so much for your time on doing this. We're going to do a few more different series here. We'll talk about chemical injectors. We'll talk about how to use the pressure washer, and we'll talk about also servicing them and what's happened to it. Why isn't it working? Look forward to more videos from Spray Wash Academy. Thank you so much. And remember also, if you're in the North Florida, Tallahassee, Big Bend area and you need professional exterior cleaning, pressure washing, roof cleaning, and soft washing, call Spray Wash Exterior Cleaning or visit us online at spraywash.com.